Hello, good beans, and welcome back to Midnight Requiem. Today we'll be talking about an American singer and actress, Aaliyah Donna Haunton. She has been credited with helping to redefine contemporary R&B, pop, and hip-hop, earning her the nicknames the Princess of R&B and Queen of Urban Pop. Born in Brooklyn and raised in Detroit, she first gained recognition at the age of 10 when she appeared on television show Star Search and performed in concert alongside Gladys Knight. At the age of 12, Aaliyah signed with Jive Records and her uncle Barry Hankerson, Blackground Records. Hankerson introduced her to R. Kelly, who became her mentor, as well as lead songwriter and producer of her debut album, Age Ain't None But a Number. The album sold 3 million copies in the United States and was certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. After allegations of an illegal marriage with Kelly, Aaliyah ended her contract with Jive and signed with Atlantic Records. Aaliyah worked with record producers Timbaland and Missy Elliott for her second album, One in a Million, which sold 3 million copies in the United States, more than 8 million copies worldwide. In 2000, Aaliyah made her acting debut in the film Romeo Must Die. She contributed to the film's soundtrack, which was supported by her single Try Again. The song topped the Billboard 100 solely through airplay, becoming the first in the chart's history to do so. After completing the film, Aaliyah subsequently filmed her starring role in Queen of the Damned, and in July 2001 released her eponymous third album, which topped the Billboard 200. The album spawned the singles Rock the Boat, More Than Women, and We Need a Resolution, featuring Timbaland. Aaliyah Donna Haunton was born on January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, New York City, New York. The younger child of Diane and Michael Miguel Haunton, a warehouse worker. She was of African-American descent. Her name is feminine form of the Arabic Ali, meaning highest, most exalted one, the best. Aaliyah was fond of her name, calling it beautiful, and saying she was very proud of it, and strove to live up to her name every day. When she was 5 years old, her family moved to Detroit, Michigan, where she was raised along with her older brother, Rashad. In Detroit, her father began working in the warehouse business. One of his brother-in-law, Barry Hankerson's widening interest. Her mother stayed home and raised she and her brother. Her mother enrolled her in voice lessons at an early age. Eventually, she started performing at weddings, church choir, and charity events. Aaliyah attended a Catholic school, Goose Elementary, where in first grade she was cast in the stage play Annie, which inspired her to become an entertainer. Aaliyah's mother was a vocalist, and her uncle Hankerson was an entertainment lawyer who had been married to Gladys Knight. As a child, Aaliyah traveled with Knight and worked with an agent in New York City to audition for commercials and television programs, including Family Matters. After failing to land a role on the show, she continued her acting through the Geese Players. In 1989, at age 10, she appeared on Star Search, where she performed My Funny Valentine. Aaliyah chose to begin auditioning. Her mother made the decision to drop her surname. She auditioned for several record labels at age 11, appeared in concerts alongside Knight. During her childhood, she had several pet animals, including ducks, snakes, and iguanas. Her cousin Jomo had a pet alligator, which Aaliyah felt was too much, remarking that was something I wasn't going to stroke. Aaliyah attended Detroit schools and believed she was well liked, but she was teased for her short stature by age 15. However, she came to love her height. Her mother told her to be happy she was small and complimented her. Although some children disliked Aaliyah, she determined you always have to deal with people who are jealous. But there were so few, it didn't even matter. The majority of the kids supported me, which was wonderful. Even in her adult life, she considered herself small. She had learned to accept and love herself and added, "The most important thing is to think highly of yourself, because if you don't, no one else will." During her auditions for acceptance to the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, Aaliyah sang Ave Maria in Italian. Aaliyah held a 4.0 grade average. When graduating from high school, she reflected, "I wanted to keep that 4.0 being in the industry. You know, I don't want kids to think I just sing and forget about school. I think it's very important to have education, and even more important to have something to fall back on." She considered a future career teaching music history, or drama if she did not make a living as a recording artist because, as she reasoned, when you pick a career, it has to be something you love. 1991 to 1995, age ain't nothing but a number. After Hankerson signed a distribution deal with Jive Records, he signed Aaliyah to his Blackground Records label at the age of 12. Hankerson later introduced her to recording artist and producer R. Kelly, who became Aaliyah's mentor, as well as lead songwriter and producer of her first album, recorded when she was 14. Aaliyah's debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, was released under her mononym Aaliyah by Jive and Blackground Records. On May 24th, 1994, it debuted at number 24 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling 38,000 copies in its first week. It's peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200 and was certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA. To date, the album has sold over 3 million copies in the US. In Canada, the album certified gold by Music Canada for 50,000 copies in shipments. In 2014, Vibe magazine estimated that the album has sold 6 million copies globally. Upon its release, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number received generally favorable reviews from music critics. Some writers noted that Aaliyah's silky vocals and sultry voice, blended with Kelly's new jack swing, helped define R&B in the 1990s. Her sound was also compared to that of female quartet Yvonne, Christopher John Farley, and Time magazine called the album a beautiful, restrained work, noting that Aaliyah's girlish, breathy vocals rode calmly on R. Kelly's rough beats. Stephen Thomas Erwin of AllMusic felt that the album had its share of filler, but described the singles as slightly seductive. He also wrote that the songs on the album were frequently better than that of Kelly's second studio album, 12 Play. The single At Your Best, You Are Love was criticized by Billboard for being out of place on the album and for its length. Aaliyah's debut single Back and Forth peaked at number 5 on the Hot 100 and topped the Hot R&B Hip-Hop Songs chart for 3 weeks. 2 more singles charted, a cover of the Isley Brothers' At Your Best, You Are Love peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the album title track Age Ain't Nothing But a Number peaked at number 75. Additionally, she released the Thing I Like as part of the soundtrack to the 1994 film A Low Down Dirty Shame. 1996 to 2000, One in a Million and Romeo Must Die. If Your Girl Only Knew, 1996. The first single released from her second studio album, If Your Girl Only Knew, was described as a sassy, organ-infused song. Aaliyah was noted for having smoother, more seductive, and stronger singing. In 1996, Aaliyah left Jive Records and signed with Atlantic Records. She worked with record producers Timbaland and Missy Elliott, who contributed to her second studio album, One in a Million. Elliott recalled Timbaland and herself being nervous to work with Aaliyah since Aaliyah had already released her successful debut album, while Elliott and Timbaland were just starting out. Elliott also feared she would be a diva, but reflected that Aaliyah came in and was so warming. She made us immediately feel like family. The album yielded the lead single If Your Girl Only Knew, which peaked at number 11 on Billboard Hot 100 and topped the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Song for 2 weeks. It also generated the singles Hot Like Fire and Four-Page Letter. One in a Million peaked at number 18 on Billboard 200 and was certified double platinum by the RIAA on June 16, 1997. Denoting shipments of 2 million copies, the album went on to sell 3 million copies in the US and over 8 million copies worldwide. The year after her album was released, Aaliyah was featured on Timbaland and Mago's debut single, Up Jumps the Boogie. In 1997, Aaliyah graduated with a 4.0 GPA from the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, where she majored in drama. The same year she began her acting career, playing herself in the police drama television series New York Undercover. During this time, Aaliyah participated in Children's Benefit Concert, a charity concert at the Beacon Theater in New York. She also became the spokesperson for the Tommy Hilfiger Corporation. During her campaign with Tommy Hilfiger, the company sold over 2,400 pairs of red, white, and blue baggy jeans. She wore in their advertisements. In December 1997, she performed the Christmas carol, What Child Is This?, at the annual Christmas in Washington television special. She also contributed on the soundtrack album for the animated film Anastasia, performing a cover version of Journey to the Past that earned songwriters Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Farty a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Aaliyah performed the song at the 1998 Academy Awards ceremony, becoming the youngest singer to perform at the event. Also in 1998, she released the song Are You That Somebody?, which was featured on the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack. The song peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned Aaliyah her first Grammy Award nomination. In 1999, Aaliyah landed her first big screen acting role in Romeo Must Die. She starred opposite martial artist Jet Li, playing a couple who fall in love amid their warring families. Released on March 24, 2000, the movie grossed US $18.6 million in its first weekend, ranking number 2 at the box office. Aaliyah purposely stayed away from the reviews of the film to make it easier on herself, but she heard that people were able to get into me, which is what I wanted. In contrast, some critics felt there was no chemistry between her and Jet Li, as well as viewing the film as too simplistic. This was echoed by Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times, who wrote that while Aaliyah was a natural and the film was conceived as a spotlight for both her and Lee, they have so little chemistry together, you'd think they're putting out a fire instead of shooting off sparks. In addition to acting, Aaliyah served as an executive producer of the film's soundtrack, for which she contributed for her songs. Try Again was released as a single from the soundtrack. The song topped the Billboard Hot 100, making Aaliyah the first artist to top the chart, based solely on airplay. This led the song to be released in a 12-inch vinyl and 7-inch single. The music video won the Best Female Video and Best Video from a Film Awards at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. It also earned her a Grammy Award nomination for Best Female R&B Vocalist. The soundtrack went on to sell 1.5 million copies in the United States. 2001, Aaliyah and the Queen of the Damned. After completing Romeo Must Die, Aaliyah began to work on her second film, Queen of the Damned. She played the role of an ancient vampire, Queen Akasha, which she described as a manipulative, crazy, sexual being. Filming both Romeo Must Die and Queen of the Damned delayed the release of the album. Aaliyah had not intended for her albums to have such a gap between them. I wanted to take a break after One in a Million to just relax, think about how I wanted to approach the next album. Then when I was ready to start back up, Romeo happened, and so I had to take another break and do that film and then do the soundtrack, then promote it. The break turned into a longer break than I anticipated. Ultimately, she filmed Queen of the Damned and recorded her third album at the same time so that it could be released in 2001. Aaliyah enjoyed balancing her singing and acting careers, though she called music a first for her. She also had been acting since she was young and had wanted to begin acting at some point in my career, but wanted it to be the right time in the right vehicle and felt Romeo Must Die was it. Connie Johnson of the Los Angeles Times argued that Aaliyah having to focus on her film career may have caused her to not give the album the attention it merited. During the recording stages for the album, Aaliyah's publicist disclosed that the album's release date was most likely in October 2000. Eventually, she finished recording the album in March 2001. After a year of recording tracks that began in March of previous year, Aaliyah was released 5 years after One in a Million on July 17, 2001, and it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 187,000 copies in its first week. The first single from the album, We Need a Resolution, peaked at number 59 on the Billboard Hot 100. The week after Aaliyah's death, her third album rose from number 19 to number 1 on the Billboard 200. Rock the Boat was released as Prometheus single. The music video premiered at BET's Access Granted, and it became the most viewed and highest rated episode in the history of the show. The song peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100. Promotionally, posters for Aaliyah that had been put up in the major cities such as New York and Los Angeles became makeshift memorials for grieving fans. In February 2002, the album was certified double platinum by the RIAA. More Than a Woman and I Care For You were released as Prometheus singles and peaked within the top 25 of the Billboard Hot 100. More Than a Woman reached number 1 on the UK singles chart, making Aaliyah the first female deceased artist to reach number 1 on the UK singles chart. More Than a Woman was replaced by George Harrison's My Sweet Lord, which is only time in the UK singles charts history when a dead artist has replaced another dead artist at number 1. Aaliyah was signed to appear in several future films, including a romantic film titled Some Kind of Blue, and Whitney Houston produced remake of the 1976 film Sparkle. Houston recalled Aaliyah being so enthusiastic about the film. The project was shelved after she died. Before her death, Aaliyah filmed some scenes for the sequels of The Matrix as the character Z. A portion of her role in The Matrix Reloaded was filmed. These unused scenes were included in the tribute section of the Matrix Ultimate Collection series. Aaliyah had the vocal range of soprano, and with the release of her debut album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, writer Dimitri Ulrich of Entertainment Weekly compared her style and sound to R&B group En Vogue, which Ulrich also expressed that Aaliyah's silky vocals are more agile than those of self-proclaimed queen of hip-hop soul Mary J. Blige. In her review for Aaliyah's second studio album, One in a Million, Vibe magazine music critic Dream Hampton said that Aaliyah's delicious feline voice has the same pop appeal as Janet Jackson's. According to Rolling Stone, the most remarkable thing about Aaliyah's voice, besides its flexibility and crisp range, was its almost preternatural poise. She also seemed to be holding her power in reserve to know every side of the scenarios she described, while Sion Panton from Mix Mag stated that she doesn't try to toss the caber with vocal athleticism. There's no shouting, screeching, wailing, or jazz-style noodling. Everything is underplayed. Miss Halton's range is displayed by the slightest high octave backing and tiniest harmonies. Aaliyah herself said her vocal styling consisted of her singing softly while utilizing her falsetto. She further explained, saying, "My signature style is breathing, tony, airy. It's simple, but I can't write a crazy track." Although she frequently sang in softer tone, there were moments when she utilized other effects of her voice. Never Giving Up, 1996, and The One I Gave My Heart To, 1997. At the few standout vocal highlights, Daryl Simmons, the producer of The One I Gave My Heart To, recalled Aaliyah doing opera vocal warm-up exercises in preparations for the song recording. While commenting on her doing opera vocal warm-ups, Simmons mentioned, "It was the furthest thing I would have ever thought that she could do. It just blew my mind." The songwriter Diane Warren praised her vocals on the song, saying it showed her vocal range, and I know a couple of people thought she wouldn't be able to do that song. I thought, no, she'll be able to do that. Verity echoed a similar sentiment as Warren, saying, "The one I gave my heart to showcased Aaliyah's ability to hit higher notes." Discussing her approach on Never Giving Up, producer Craig King said, "Lyrically and vocally, she just took you to places that you didn't know she could." From the very beginning, she opted for an edgy, more mature sound, and her songs were often up-tempo and at the same time often dark, revolving around matters of the heart. She easily straddled the hip-hop and pop worlds, never projecting the frilliness of her enjoying peers. In 2001, Aaliyah called her sound street but sweet, pairing feminine vocals with a gritty urban rhythm track. In another interview, she further spoke about her artsy, saying, "I love to fuse other types of music with my own." She explored a wide range of genres such as R&B, pop, hip-hop, funk, soul, and dance pop. Discussing her lyrical content in the new Rolling Stone album guide 2004, Keith Harris said, "When it came to sexual availability, she was between en vogue, maliciously taunting, you're never gonna get it, and a tweet blanky cooing, oops, there goes my shirt." Lyrically, her first two albums carefully toed the line between adolescence and adulthood, displaying a woman exploring the terrain of love, trust, and lust, one who exuded a playful innocence while hinting at a more sultry side. Aaliyah did not usually write her own lyric. The only time she had a hand in writing is on the song "Death of a Player" from the Hot Like Fire single 1997. She co-wrote that song with her brother Rashad Haunted, and it reflects Aaliyah's dark perspective on romance. Of her role in crafting her music, Aaliyah said, "I like to have the final say, but I was trained as a singer, actress, and dancer, and interpreter, bringing other people's words to life. I need the songs to reflect me in one way or another." After her and R. Kelly produced debut album, Aaliyah worked with Timbaland and Missy Elliott, whose productions were more electronic. The duo mixed choppy, nervous rhythms over loops of computer-generated backing tracks and incorporating harmonies which, within the genre's limited horizons, seemed daring. They also created the freeze and stop style of singing on top of bass-heavy instrumentals, which became Aaliyah's signature style. Aaliyah's songs have been said to have crisp production of staccato arrangements that extend genres boundaries while containing old-school soul music. Khalifa Sunday of the New York Times called her a digital diva who wove a spell with one and zeros, and writes that her song comprised simple vocal riffs, repeated and refactored to echo and manipulated loops that create digital rhythm, as Timbaland's computer program beats fitted perfectly with her cool, bravery voice to create a new kind of electronic music. She released musically risky singles into a notoriously fickle pop market without being concerned about conforming to the stereotypes of the marketplace. Her songs gracefully walk in a line between commerciality and experimentation. Reviewing her album, British publication NME felt that Aaliyah's radical third album was intended to consolidate her position as U.S. R&B most experimental artist. As her albums progressed, writers felt that Aaliyah's matured, calling her progress a near-flawless declaration of strength and independence. ABC News noted that her music was evolving from the punchy pop-influenced hip-hop and R&B to a more mature, introspective sound. On her third album, Stephen Thomas Erdogan of AllMusic described her album Aaliyah's as a statement of maturity and a stunning artistic leap forward, and called it one of the strongest urban soul records of its time. She portrayed unfamiliar sounds, styles, and emotion, but managed to please critics with a contemporary sound and contained. Ernest Hardy of Rolling Stone felt that Aaliyah was displaying stronger technique, giving her best vocal performance. Altogether, Aaliyah's music can be described as alternative R&B, progressive soul, and neo soul, according to Times Farley. As an artist, Aaliyah said that she was inspired by a number of performers. These included Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Sade, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, Korn, Donny Hathaway, Johnny Mathis, Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Barbra Streisand. Aaliyah said that Michael Jackson's Thriller was her favorite album and that nothing will ever top Thriller. She said she had always wanted to work with Janet Jackson, to whom she had often been compared, saying, "I admire her a great deal. She's a total performer. I'd love to do a duet with Janet Jackson." Jackson reciprocated Aaliyah's affection, saying, "I love her from the beginning because she always comes out and does something different musically." Jackson also said she would have enjoyed collaborating with Aaliyah. According to director Paul Hunter, from day one, Aaliyah wanted her videos to stand out from clips by other R&B singers. He said you can watch programming all day and see a certain type of video by female artists. Then when one of hers comes on, it's something special, something different to look at. That's what she was about. Christopher John Farley from Time said that Aaliyah's videos for the most part are about mood, not about storylines. Her videos are usually lushy shot and fused with sexual tension, though not in overt and obvious ways. Alicia Quay from Teen Vogue felt that there's much to gather while watching Aaliyah's music video. In fact, she thinks that watching them is actually an understatement. Quay further explained that there's a state of hypnosis you submit to as she envelops you through sight and sound, tugging at your heartstrings between a sequence of sensual strong movements, infectious instrumentals, and initiative lyrics that spark emotions of desire, sex, and empowerment. You're enraptured in Aaliyah's physical presence. Most of Aaliyah's videos included dance routines while discussing her video choreography. Billboard mentioned that she coined the smooth choreography of Antoine Boyish style that would inspire R&B's future generations for years to come. Vibe praised several videos, saying, "Looking back on her videos like Try Again and Are You That Somebody, Aaliyah's talent, all of those techniques of dancing are apparent, as she's able to hit every syncopated word and beat with ease as if she's moving on air." Keonson Williams from NME named Are You That Somebody as a visual that pushed the boundaries when it came to dance breaks in music videos. Williams declared until that time, dance breaks were usually reserved for boy bands like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, but Aaliyah claimed it for R&B stars too. Aaliyah's focused on her public image while protecting her private life. She felt that it was important to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. USA Today said her slinky vocal style and eye-popping videos made her a crossover star, while persistent protection of her privacy added an air of intrigue about her. According to Aaliyah, "I put a lot of pressure on myself to be true to myself and not let anything else influence me to do what someone else is doing. Being a little edgy and sexy is me. My image isn't a put-on. I'm happy to put over that dark edge in my videos because it's always been there. I used to wear my sunglasses or have my hair over one eye a lot more when I was younger. Now I'm happy with all aspects of myself." She often wore baggy clothes and sunglasses, stating that she wanted to be herself. Aaliyah also wore black clothing, starting a trend for similar fashion among women in the United States and Japan. In 1998, she hired a personal trainer to keep in shape and exercise 5 days a week and ate a diet foods. As her career progressed, she went through so many fashion revamps. For example, when she changed her hairstyle, Aaliyah took her mother's advice and covered her left eye, much like Veronica Lake. The look has become known as her signature and been referred to a fusion of unnerving emotional honesty and the sense of mystique. In regards to her fashion choices, writer Jeff Lores described her as a model of understatement. According to Lores, she's a beautiful, but hardly in a high-gloss supermodel way, more like a really good-looking girl next door. And rather than blinging her eyes in a ghetto, fabulous manner befitting her trumped-up surroundings, she blings on the down low. A subtle bracelet here and a winkling pendant there, offset by her simple black jeans and matching sweater. Tres cool. Former TRL host Carson Daly said that she was cutting edge, always one step ahead of the curve, and that the TRL audience looks to her to figure out what's hot and what's new. Aaliyah was often praised for her clean-cut image and moral values. Robert Kishkugo of the Village Voice wrote to Aaliyah's artistry and image, she was live and lucid in a way that signified neither jailbait nor haughty and ingenuine, whose selling point was sincerity, not innocence, and the absurd it implies. Emil Webkin told CNN, Aaliyah is an excellent role model because she started her career in the public eye at age 15 with a gold album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, and then her second album, One in a Million, went double platinum. She had the leading role in Romeo Must Die, which was a box office success. She's won numerous awards, several MTV Music Video Awards, and aside from her professional successes, many of her lyrics are very inspirational and uplifting. She also carried herself in a very professional manner. She was well-spoken, she was beautiful, but she didn't use her beauty to sell her music. She used her talent. Many young hip-hop fans greatly admire her. She was also seen by others as a sex symbol and didn't have a problem with being considered one. I know that people think I'm sexy and I'm looked as that, and it's cool with me. She stated, it's wonderful to have sex appeal. If you embrace it, it can be a very beautiful thing. I'm totally cool with that, definitely. I see myself as sexy. If you are comfortable with it, it can be very classy and it can be very appealing. Aaliyah also felt though her image was rich and sexy, it was important to remain respectable because she wanted to make songs that everyone could relate to without it being vulgar, which she participated in fashion designers Tommy Hilfiger's All-America Tour Tommy Jean ads. She wore boxer shorts, baggy jeans, and a tube top. Hilfiger's brothers Andy called it a whole new look that was classy but sexy. The single We Need a Resolution was argued to have transformed the once tomboy into a sexy grown woman. Aaliyah's family played a major role in the course of her career. Beginning in 1995, Aaliyah's father, Michael Haunton, served as her personal manager and her mother assisted him. Aaliyah's brother Rashad Haunton and her cousin Jamal Hankerson were with her when she worked. After her father became ill, her brother Rashad became her manager. Aaliyah was known to have usually been accompanied by members of her family. Her brother Rashad stated that the filming of Rock the Boat was the only time her family was not present during a video shoot. In October 2001, Rashad said, it really boggles everyone that from day one, every single video she ever shot, there's always been myself or my mother or my father there. The circumstances surrounding this last video were really strange because my mother had an eye surgery and couldn't fly. That really bothered her because she would always traveled. My dad had to take care of my mom at the time, and I went to Australia to visit some friends. We really couldn't understand why we weren't there. You ask yourself, maybe we could have stopped it, but you can't really answer the question. There's always going to be that question of why. Her friend Kedia Jones said in the last year of Aaliyah's life, her parents had given her more freedom and she had spoken about wanting a family. Illegal marriage. Aaliyah reportedly developed an intimate relationship with R. Kelly during the recording of her debut album. She told Vibe magazine in 1994 that she and Kelly would go watch a movie and go eat when she got tired and would then come back and work. She described the relationship between her and Kelly as rather close. In December 1994, Aaliyah told the Chicago Sun-Times that whenever she was asked about being married to Kelly, she urged them not to believe all the mess, and that she and Kelly were close, and people took it the wrong way. With the release of Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, rumors circulated around about a relationship between Aaliyah and R. Kelly, including the allegation that they had secretly married without her parents' knowledge. The Vibe magazine later revealed a marriage certificate that listed the couple married on August 31st, 1994, in Sheraton Gateway Suites in Rosemount, Illinois. Aaliyah, who was 15 at the time, was listed as 18 on the certificate. R. Kelly was 27. The marriage was annulled by her parents in February 1995, but the pair denied allegations and saying that neither was married and the certificate was forgery. Jamie Foster Brown, in the 1994 issue of Sister to Sister, wrote that R. Kelly told me that he and Aaliyah got together and was just magic. Brown also reported hearing about a sexual relationship between them. I've been hearing about Robert and Aaliyah for a while, and that she was pregnant or that she was coming and going in and out of his house. People would see her walking his dog, 12 play, and her basketball cap and sunglasses on. Every time I asked the label, they said it was platonic, but I kept hearing complaints from people about her being in the studio with all those men. Brown later added, at 15, you have all those hormones and no brains attached to them. In his 2011 book, The Man Behind the Man, Looking from the Inside Out, Demetrius Smith Sr., Kelly's former tour manager, revealed that Kelly married Aaliyah after she told him that she was pregnant. In the 2019 documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, Smith described how he helped Aaliyah forge the necessary documents to show she was 18 to marry Kelly. Smith also said he was not proud of his role of facilitating their marriage. Additionally, the documentary revealed that Jovette Cunningham, a former backup dancer, claimed to have witnessed Kelly having sex with Aaliyah on his tour bus. Aaliyah admitted in court documents that she had lied about her age. In May 1997, she filed suit in Cook County seeking to have all records of the marriage expunged because she was not old enough under state law to get married without her parents' consent. It was reported that she cut off all professional and personal ties with Kelly after the marriage was annulled and ceased contact with him. In a 2014 interview, Aaliyah's cousin Jamal Hagerson said that she got villainized for her relationship with Kelly, and the scandal over the marriage made it difficult to find producers for her second album. We were coming off of a multi-platinum debut album except for a couple of relationships with Jermaine Dupri and Puffy. It was hard for us to get producers on the album. Hagerson also expressed confusion over why they were upset with Aaliyah giving her age at the time. Aaliyah was known to avoid answering questions about Kelly after a professional split. During an interview with Christopher John Farley, she was asked whether she was still in contact with him and would ever work with him again. Farley said Aaliyah responded with a firm, frosty no to both questions. Vibe magazine said Aaliyah changed the subject anytime you bring up the marriage with her. A spokeswoman for Aaliyah said in 2000 that when R. Kelly comes up, when she doesn't even speak his name and nobody's allowed to ask about it at all, Kelly later said that Aaliyah had opportunities to address their relationship after they separated professionally but chose not to. In 2019, Damon Dash revealed to Hip Hop Motivation that Aaliyah did not even speak of her relationship with Kelly in private. He tried multiple times to discuss it with her, but she would only say that Kelly was a bad man. Dash said he was unable to watch Surviving R. Kelly because its interviews with visibly traumatized girls struggling to discuss their encounters with Kelly reminded him of how Aaliyah behaved when trying to recount her relationship with Kelly. Dash later appeared in Surviving R. Kelly Part 2 in 2020. Other allegations were made about Kelly regarding underage girls in the years after Aaliyah's death, and their marriage was used as an example of his involvement with them. He has refused to discuss his relationship with her, citing her death out of respect for her and her mom and her dad. I will not discuss Aaliyah. That was a whole other situation, a whole other time. It was a whole other thing. And I'm sure that people also know that in 2016, Kelly said that he was as in love with Aaliyah as he was with anybody else. Aaliyah's mother, Diane Haunton, reflected that everything that went wrong in her life began with her relationship with Kelly. After the documentary Surviving R. Kelly aired in January 2019, pressure from the public using the Mute R. Kelly hashtag escalated, with RCA Records dropping Kelly from the label. In February 2019, Kelly was indicted of 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. In July 2019, he was arrested on federal charges of sex crimes, human trafficking, child pornography, racketeering, and obstruction of justice. When his trial began in August 2021, Kelly faced 22 federal criminal charges that involved allegedly abusing 11 girls and women between 1994 and 2018. Aaliyah's illegal marriage to Kelly was heavily featured in a court case. On September 27, 2021, a federal court jury found Kelly guilty of 9 counts, including racketeering, sexual exploitation of a child, kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, and violation of the Mann Act. The judge ordered that Kelly remain in custody pending sentencing, which was set for May 4th, 2022. On June 29, 2022, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Relationship with Damon Dash. Aaliyah was dating the co-founder of Rockefeller Records, Damon Dash, at the time of her death. Although they were not formally engaged, Dash claimed that the couple had planned to marry. Interviews given after Aaliyah's death. In December of 2000, Aaliyah was introduced to Dash by his accountant, and they formed a friendship. Aaliyah never publicly addressed their relationship as anything but platonic. Due to their hectic work schedules, Aaliyah and Dash were separated for long periods of time. Jay-Z mentioned Aaliyah and Dash in the remix of her song Miss You, released in 2003. In August 2021, Dash told Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier, "I was reflecting that there hasn't been one day since she's passed, not one in the 20 years that I haven't either heard her name, heard her record, or seen a picture of her. Every single day she's present in my life, and I feel lucky for that." On August 25th, 2001, at 6:50 p.m., Aaliyah and some employees of her record company boarded a twin-engine Cessna 402 light aircraft at the Marsh Harbor Airport in Abaco Island, the Bahamas, to travel to Apalaca Airport in Florida. After they completed filming the video for Rock the Boat, they had a flight scheduled the next day, but with filming finishing early, Aaliyah and her entourage were eager to return to the U.S. and decided to leave immediately. The designated airplane was smaller than the Cessna 404 on which they had originally arrived, but the whole party and all equipment were accommodated on board. The plane crashed and caught fire shortly after takeoff, about 200 feet from the end of the runway. Aaliyah and 8 others on board, pilot Luis Morales III, hairstylist Eric Foreman, Anthony Dodd, security guard Scott Gallion, family friend Keith Wallace, makeup stylist Christopher Maldonado, and background records employees Douglas Kratz and Gina Smith were killed. The passengers had grown impatient because the Cessna was supposed to arrive at 4:30 p.m. EDT, but did not arrive until 6:15 p.m. Charter pilot Luis Key claimed to have overheard passengers arguing with the pilot, Morales, before takeoff, adding that Morales warned them that there was too much weight for a safe flight. Key added he tried to convince them the plane was overloaded, but they insisted they had chartered the plane and they had to be in Miami Saturday night. Key indicated that Morales gave in to the passengers and that he had trouble starting one of the engines. According to findings from the inquisitive conduct by the coroner's office in the Bahamas, Aaliyah had severe burns and a blow to the head, in addition to severe shock and a weak heart. The coroner theorized that she went into such a state of shock that even she had survived the crash. Her recovery would have been nearly impossible given the severity of her injuries. The bodies were taken to the morgue at Princess Margaret Hospital in Nassau, where they were kept for relatives to help identify them. Some of them were badly burned. As the subsequent investigation determined, the aircraft was overloaded by 700 pounds when it attempted to take off. It was carrying one more passenger than it was certified for. The National Transportation Safety Board reported the airplane was seen lifting off the runway and then nose down, impacting in Marsh on the south side of the departure end of the runway 27. The report indicated that the pilot was not approved to fly the plane. Morales falsely obtained his FAA license by showing hundreds of hours never flown, and he may also have falsified how many hours he had flown to get a job with his employer. Black Hawk International Airways additionally toxicology tests performed on Morales revealed traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. Aaliyah had a private funeral mass that was held on August 31st, 2001 at the Church of St. Ignatius Loyola in Manhattan, following a procession from the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel. Her body was set in a silver-plated copper deposit casket, which was carried in a horse-drawn glass hearse. An estimated 800 mourners attended the procession. Among those in attendance at the private ceremony were Miss C. Elliott, Timbaland, Gladys Knight, Little Kim, and Sean Combs. After the service, 22 white doves were released to symbolize each year of her life. Aaliyah's brother Rashad delivered the eulogy and described his sister as giving him strength. Aaliyah, you left, but I'll see you always next to me, and I can see you smiling through the sunshine. When our life is over, our book is done. I hope God keeps me strong until I see her again. He reads the names on the other victims of the crash and concluded by asking mourners to pray for them as well. As Diane Haunton and the mourners left, they sang Aaliyah's song, One in a Million. Aaliyah continues to have an impact on the world after her passing that fateful day in 2001. She was a person of virtue, honor, hard work, and love. She was a unique individual who gave all of herself in whatever she did, whether it was charity work, singing, acting, time with friends, signing or autographs. Aaliyah lived her life with a smile on her face and love in her heart. To her family, friends, loved ones, and fans worldwide, Aaliyah will be missed but will always be remembered. A true angel in every sense of the word. She lives now in our minds, our hearts, and in a way we all live our lives. In her name, we strive to be the best and make our world a better place. As always, my good being, be loving, caring to each other. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe, and leave comments. Have a wonderful day.